may be the purest act of revenge a woman can undertake.
Revenge?
I like revenge. Tell me more.
Through suicide, the woman intends that her offender, say her mother-in-law, shall be brought to terms. She will be made to repent keenly of her cruelty to her. She gloats upon thoughts of what a disturbance her death will create. She pictures to herself the consternation that will fill all hearts when they enter her room and find her dead. Then there will be the stern anger of own fathers and brothers, the settlement that will ensue, the lawsuit her tormentor will be obliged to bear the heavy expenses of, the grand funeral that will be exacted for the repose of her soul. The probability that her mother-in-law or the whole family will be obliged to follow her coffin as mourners, and the opportunity her ghost will have of inflicting all imaginable evils. Yes, she who has always been despised will now be felt as a powerful one. And the deed is done, she commits suicide.
I'd love to get back at my mother-in-law. Let's do it. Let's get ourselves right now. Lorraine, do you have a mother-in-law you want to get back at?
I don't want to kill myself over her.
You're already dead.
If we're already dead, then you must be dead as well. Have you considered that, Maxine?
Let's talk about life. What do you say? This death topic is a little strange.
If you like. We're just biding our time until... I don't know.
We're all writers here. We could talk about that. Since you're alive after all, Lorraine, what are you working on now? It seems that you only had the one play.
Well, there was the movie version and the teleplay, which didn't get on. I have several plays I'm working on. I just continue to write until I find something that strikes me.
Well, why didn't your teleplay get on? I don't know anything about writing for television.
Either did I. But I know now that they do not want the voice of the Negro to shout too loud. My script was a bit too black for them. I may have more luck with the theater. One works, one dreams, and if one is actually lucky, one produces.
Expecting Hollywood to represent the rights of writers is like trying to get laid on your mother's sofa. Someone's always in the parlor watching.
You say what's on your mind, Mrs. Parker. I admire that.
You know, I can't imagine what the future holds for that family in your raisin play. I wonder if you can explain whether the white neighborhood supposedly accepts them or whether life continues to be the futile struggle it has always been for them.
I absolutely plead guilty to a charge of idealism. You see, the only choice for the Negro is to get out of the ghettos, because the ghettos are killing our dreams and our very bodies.
Well, it seems as though your people will have to wait for the hearts of those who would oppress you to change. My guess is that the family has a hard time of it.
I'm glad the American nation did not wait for the hearts of individual slave owners to change in order to abolish slavery. I suspect I still should be running around on a plantation as a slave. And that would really not do.
Our myths break across all kinds of barriers, and then it makes me wonder about the connection with working sugarcane or cotton fields. What is it about physical labor and silence? Why do we have to be silent as we work like animals? That is a human question, not just an African American question or a Native American question or a Chinese question. I see us all working toward breaking this silence. It is not white masters that stick a muzzle on us. It is something larger than that. There is a universal struggle between silence and speech.
Well, prejudice is deep-rooted, and it will take some time to change. But I suppose we can write about it and try and get the message out.
Have you written about it, Dorothy?
No. I'm afraid it is not my interest as a writer, but it is my interest in general. In my will, I've left all my royalties to the NAACP.
Why, that's very commendable. I wouldn't have thought that so
A
much.
rich white woman would care enough. I care a lot.
I think the trick is that we must become world citizens, not just Americans or African Americans or Asian Americans. We need to be aware of the world, not just our own soil.
Darling, I've traveled the world. It's too big to deal with. We have plenty of problems right here. Most Americans west of Pennsylvania live entirely on pizza. I'm afraid it reduces to the day-to-day struggle, no matter how important the world seems.
The way I was raised, you were never good enough. No matter what I did, I was criticized. Had to be better, had to be better. Writing books was my way of doing better. And they had to be big books. They had to be huge, mythic worlds, and they had to contain continents. Even right at the end, after doing all these books, it's like, is it better yet? I think the dream of the great American novel is past. I want to write a global novel.
Why not take on the world?
I imagine the setting of this global novel to be the United States, because it is the destination of journeys from everywhere. Everyone gathers and regathers, unable to get away from one another until we work out how to live peacefully together. The danger is that the global novel must imitate chaos. Loaded guns, bombs, laking boats, broken down civilizations, broken English, a hotel in the sky, people who refuse connections with others. How to stretch the novel to comprehend our times. No guarantees of eventual or inherent order without it falling apart. How to integrate the surreal, society, or psyches.
You're after quite a lot, Mrs. Kingston. Universality can come from simple common stories, too. The finest people often work in filling stations. You say you were born in Stockton. Where does this world view of yours come from?
At my parents' laundry, I heard talk stories. Talk story is a tradition that goes back to pre-writing time in China, where people verbally pass on history and mythology and genealogy and how-to stories and bedtime stories and legends. They pass them down through the generations, and it keeps the community together. The tradition was so strong in China that people brought it to America, where the stories changed and became American stories. So, at the laundry, I heard talk story from everyone who came in. I inherited this amazing amount of information, culture, history, mythology, and poetry. There is a way of writing that will transcend world barriers. Language, if one has control of it, can do that, I believe.
All of that sounds overwhelming. I sit at my desk for hours and sharpen pencils and smoke cigarettes, and nothing happens. I begin to think more and more of what I could do with my life while I'm still young. Maybe I can drive an ambulance or run a ski lodge. But I expect the theater will kill me. I'm expected to write another great play, but it isn't coming.
A burden and a blessing. You must produce. But now if you do write something, it will be produced, because now you're the actual Lorraine Hansberry. It's a pity I hadn't the foresight to take a class in interior decorating. Why anybody would choose a career as a writer mystifies me. I swear, if I had a choice, I would rather clean out ferry boats, peddle fish, or become a Broadway chorus boy. The problem is, I wish I didn't have to work at all. I was made for love, anyway. Well, since that is not to be, I wish I knew how to write prose that would make a lot of money.
But you have made a lot of money, Mrs. Parker.
Yes, but not as a novelist like you, Max. Just by writing clever little poems and screenplays. I know I shouldn't complain. But all the money in the world can't make you happy anyway.
That's easy to say when you have it.
You have it, Lorraine. I know you do.
I'm afraid what I want to say will not sell. I've had several things turned down since A Raisin in the Sun. I don't know how to give the people what they want.
People don't know what they want until you give it. Remember that.
Are we ever going to get to the bottom of this place?
I'd almost forgotten.
The Dead Writers' Tea Party. What does it mean?
I have this horrible feeling that you are dead.
Really? How can you tell?
All of us. This must be some kind of holding place.
Limbo.
Perhaps.
I'm remembering something now.
Do either one of you remember how you got in here?
I remember now that I was sick.
You had cancer.
Yes, it was cancer. It looked horrible.
And it was a heart attack for you, Dorothy.
You mean I didn't commit suicide? How unromantic. And what about you? How did you die?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Try to think. If one of us can see a vision of Maxine's death, then perhaps it's true, and we've gone on to the next world. I remember now that the pain was so much that I thought of doing something drastic. This is the next thing I remember. This here. What do you remember, Dorothy?
That nothing at all was good.
Well, that can't be true. Didn't you enjoy anything?
Oh, certainly. Flowers, French fried potatoes, and a good cry.
How could we be dead? I haven't said everything I need to say.
Well, perhaps that's it. Maybe we have said everything we needed to say.
Somehow I think I would have liked to say we should live in a world where some of the more monumental problems could at least be solved.
Oh, back to world peace.
I would have liked to say we should get rid of all those little bombs.
We'd have to understand each other then.
That's it. I can't stand it. I've got to go back and write. There's too much to say, too much change to create. This is a big mistake. I don't belong here at all. Deep in my heart, I do believe we need to be a further outrage. I am so offended. Why aren't you offended?
What good is being offended going to do? When you're dead, you're dead.
Wait a minute. I know the way out.
Where is it?
It's right there. Who's coming with me?
Darling, there's nothing there.
There is something there. The world. Come on.
Maxine, wait!
God.
She's gone.
Did you see where she went?
That way.
Well, at least we still have the cookies.
This isn't a very happy ending for us, is it? You with your heart attack and me with my cancer.
I know this will come as a surprise to you, Lorraine, but in all history, which has held billions and billions of people, not a single one has ever had a happy ending. It's funny. I'd always thought I would see my brother when I died. He was lost on the Titanic. I wanted to find out what that was like.
Well, that's incredible. Maybe there is more. There has to be, right?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Do you think they'll read our work now that we're gone?
No, it's written down. They can if they want to.
I have so much unfinished work. I trust that my commas and periods will be placed in, and someone will complete my thoughts. That shouldn't be too difficult out there. There are so many who think as I do. Thank goodness.
That's why they will read us.
And so it seems that we have lived.